turning organizational change into a continuous capability. Most organizations think reinvention is something you do when the business starts struggling. A restructuring, a transformation initiative, a strategic reset. But the organizations winning right now are doing something completely different. They are not treating reinvention as an event. They are building it as a permanent organizational capability. And that may become the single biggest competitive advantage of the next decade. The real challenge facing organizations today is not whether change will happen. That part is guaranteed. The real question is this: can your organization continuously adapt fast enough to stay relevant while change is happening? Because markets are shifting faster, technology cycles are accelerating, customer expectations are evolving constantly, and operational complexity is compounding across every industry. Yet, most organizations are still operating with systems designed for a much slower world. Built for stability, predictability, efficiency, control, not continuous adaptation. That is where the reinvention method comes in. Not as another transformation project, but as a system for helping organizations continuously evolve without breaking operationally in the process. The problem with most reinvention here is the mistake most companies make. They wait too long. They wait until growth slows, margins compress, talent disengages. Decision-making becomes political, like execution breaks down. Competitors redefine the market, and only then do they attempt reinvention. But by that stage, reinvention becomes reactive, more expensive, more disruptive, more political, and much harder to execute. Because the issue is usually not leadership effort. It is that the organization itself was never designed to adapt continuously. Most businesses were optimized to scale, not reinvent. And there is a massive difference between the two. What the reinvention method actually is. The reinvention method is a structured approach to helping organizations continuously anticipate change, redesign intelligently, execute rapidly, adapt repeatedly without losing operational stability. At its core, it focuses on 5 interconnected areas: strategy, structure, leadership, operations, and culture. Because reinvention only works when all 5 evolve together. Strategic reinvention. The first step is strategic reinvention. Most organizations think they are competing within industries, but increasingly, organizations are competing inside changing economic models. That means the danger is not just poor execution. The danger is becoming strategically irrelevant while still appearing operationally successful. This is where leadership teams need to ask harder questions. What business are we really in? What assumptions are no longer true? Where is value creation moving? What part of our current success model is quietly becoming obsolete? Because an organization can execute extremely well and still be moving directly toward decline. Structural reinvention. Next comes structural reinvention. This is where most execution problems actually originate. Organizations slow down when decision rights become unclear. Silos multiply, leadership layers expand, accountability diffuses, priorities conflict. Eventually, friction becomes systemic. At that point, no amount of motivation fixes the problem. Because the issue is structural. The reinvention method redesigns how the organization actually operates. Decision systems, information flow, cross-functional coordination, governance, accountability, resource allocation. The objective is not simply efficiency, it is organizational responsiveness, the ability to detect, decide, and respond faster than the environment changes. Leadership reinvention. Then comes leadership reinvention. Traditional leadership models were built around control. Modern organizations need leaders who can build adaptive systems. That means leaders must become alignment architects, decision accelerators, integrators, system designers, not operational bottlenecks. Because many organizations unintentionally create dependency cultures where every major decision flows upward. That slows everything down. The reinvention method develops leaders who increase organizational capacity instead of centralizing organizational dependency. That shift changes everything. Operational reinvention. Operational reinvention focuses on execution itself. Most companies still operate with static planning models, annual plans, rigid priorities, slow adjustment cycles, but volatility breaks static systems. The organizations winning today are building adaptive execution systems that continuously reassess conditions, reallocate resources, adjust priorities, shorten feedback loops, detect friction early. Execution is no longer the final step after strategy. Execution becomes the mechanism through which strategy continuously evolves. Cultural reinvention finally comes cultural reinvention, and this is where many transformations fail. Because culture is not what organizations say. Culture is what organizations consistently reward. If the system rewards risk avoidance, slow consensus, escalation dependency, functional protectionism, political behavior, then reinvention will stall regardless of strategy. The reinvention method builds cultures that reinforce learning velocity, ownership, transparency, cross-functional collaboration, intelligent experimentation, adaptive thinking, not as slogans, as operational expectations. The big misunderstanding. One of the biggest misconceptions about reinvention is that it creates instability. Actually, the opposite is true. Organizations capable of continuous reinvention become more stable over time. Why? Because they detect disruption earlier, respond faster, adapt in smaller cycles, and avoid large-scale organizational shock. Instead of waiting for crisis-driven transformation, they evolve continuously. That is a fundamentally different operating model. The future will not belong to organizations that occasionally reinvent themselves. It will belong to organizations that build reinvention directly into how they operate. Because the real competitive advantage moving forward is not size, it is not scale, it is not even innovation alone, it is adaptive capacity. The ability to learn faster, decide faster, coordinate faster, respond faster, reinvent faster without collapsing operationally in the process. That is the real shift happening right now. From transformation as an initiative to reinvention as a permanent organizational capability.